Welcome to the show. I'm Jen. I feel like sitting here that actually I should reverse the seats because I'm sitting with just a consummate professional here in the TV hosting world. But Andrea Robinson, TV host, author, mama to two precious children, and wife to an incredible husband. Hi.
Hello.
This is so fun.
It's like the reunion that needed to happen a long time ago. It's so great to see you.
It's so wonderful.
This is so beautiful.
Well, you're beautiful, and this is, I mean, inside and out, and so this is such a gift. I have to ask you, is this the first interview that you're doing, or have you done a lot of interviews?
You know, we were just talking
Since leaving.
off the camera that we're coming up on 3 years post TV. News career, and I have just for business and things like that, and kind of sharing what I've been doing since I left. So I've done other interviews, but it's always fun to be here because it still feels so different.
Yeah.
Normally it's me asking the questions, but it's a great place to be right now.
Well, I would love for you to share the journey of actually getting to Fox 10, where you left 3 years ago, as you just said, because you had an interesting start as an intern, and then I don't want to give away, but kind of what was that journey and passion to get into news and where you ended up?
I think we always kind of look back and wonder, where did that desire come from? Was it a dream we always had to be where we are now and moving along in our careers? And I can easily now look back, and I was, the girl that did the morning announcements, and I was always putting on shows in my room for my mom. And obviously, if you know me personally, I never shut up. I like to talk, and I just love people. And so it was natural that would become where I would land. But it was never something that I'm going to grow up and I'm going to be in TV news and I'm going to be a news anchor. It was never that. It was sort of, I just kind of took each step in life and opportunity that came. And I was at ASU, and I was in my last semester, and I had to do an internship, and I ended up at the Fox affiliate here, Channel 10, and that led to a part-time position, which anyone that does know news knows that doesn't happen. If you don't, it doesn't happen like that. Normally you go to several very small markets, with you and a stop sign in the city or in the town.
Exactly.
And you're barely living and surviving, but you do that to get experience and move up,
Yeah.
right? And it's kind of like any job, right? You kind of start here and you, right?
Build your career.
You build your career. And so that's what it looks like in TV. Well, I look back and I think that I still had to do that there. I just did it in a bigger market, but it was not glamorous. I was a morning traffic reporter making literally $10 an hour. That's what I made, $10 an hour, and I worked 3 hours a morning, and I had a full-time job on top of that for 2 years. And then that led into a full-time position, and it was a feature reporter position for the morning show, then still doing traffic, and then that slowly evolved. And in 2010, I remember coming back from maternity leave with my firstborn, and I stepped into the role as morning show co-host. Rick D'Amico at the time and I got to share that space, and it was wonderful. And then it led to many years after that, coming to September of 2018 when I decided it was time to move on.
And then you didn't stay in the industry because
No.
some people leave a station and either move to a different market or go to another station in the same market.
Yeah.
You made more of a career change, and you took a lot of what you embody and the connections and the relationships that you developed, and saw ways to translate that and help others and support others in that. So what did you end up creating and doing?
Well, it was a big decision, I think, and to get to that point of leaving, right? Leaving your known for something very unknown is as scary as ever, especially being in a place for almost 15 years and then just saying, okay, I'm going to move on. I knew more than ever, and I look back and I still am so firm in that decision, that my head and heart were finally in the same place. And when you've prayed about it and you're your heart has changed so much, and it aligns exactly the way you know God is supposed to direct your life, then you can be pretty confident in that decision. Did I know what was going to happen after that?
Right.
No, but I was like, well, I know you and you know the steps, so I'll just trust you.
Yeah.
But it was scary, and it still is scary some days. So I can't like sit up here and say I have it all figured out. I don't think any of us really fully have it figured out. But I just realized like my kids were growing up faster than ever. I was missing out on everything. That schedule it was hard.
It's tough.
It's very early in the morning. You know, you miss out on what I now know is like the most precious time of the day is that morning routine with your kids.
And you're even tiptoeing around the house. I know the stories
Yes.
of
like I would go and make a green smoothie in the garage because I didn't want to wake them up. Like, what was I doing?
Yeah.
But you know, we all do what we have to do when we're in that position, and you make the best of what you have, and you do the best you can. So now I have, you know, it's been 3 years, but what I did is a lot of me getting to the point of leaving was internal work and what I call heart work, which now I know is an never-ending process, and we're always sort of unbecoming what we thought we were to become who we're really called to be. And a lot of that was, you know, working with a counselor. A lot of it was journaling. It was reconnecting with my relationship with God and learning what that intimate relationship does to your life, and then sharing that with other women, and really hopefully empowering them to know like we're allowed to change. And I think we get so caught up in routine and what's comfortable, and it's so scary to change.
well, and our society puts pressure on, and there could be stigmas, and there could be.
And then we as women, right, our identity is often found in our career and what we do and who knows us.
Become defined by
all of that. And as much as we say we don't want to be like that, we are, and we do that, and it's normal for all of us. And so it makes making a change hard. And I think when you start to realize you're not alone in those thoughts, and you're not the only one that feels this urge sometimes to like move, and is it the right decision, is it not? But when you start to surround yourself with other people and learn their stories and understand that, okay, we're all meant to move on. We're all meant to change. And if we're not, then, I mean, I'd check your pulse, because you're probably dead.
Yeah.
Right?
You're not growing.
Yeah.
You're not.
And so this community we've built with women around the state has just been phenomenal. And, you know, the change in, you know, another woman's life looks different than the change in mine. But I think that if we can honor each other, that like where I'm walking and my path might look different than hers, but it's still important. Hers is still important. We still matter. And just living not for culture, but really living, you know, who God has called us all to be. And it's going to look different from me to her to you to them.
And it's nice that you provide that space and that forum for people to do that, because, you know, we talk about the stigma and all of that, but, you know, a lot of people have fear around doing that. And so by you being authentic, they can see, oh, maybe it's safe, and maybe and slowly open up and find themselves and be a better mom, be a better wife, be a better worker, whatever it is.
It's scary as women, right, to be in this society. And I think we all have a story where we were with other women where we couldn't be who we really are, or we had to try to be something we weren't in order to be accepted and loved or liked. And I'm tired of that.
Yeah.
I'm tired
it's
of
a lot of
living
work
like that. It's
to
exhausting.
try and do that all the time.
It's exhausting.
Yeah.
And I think, you know, when we just start to own who we are and know that our hearts are really messy, our minds are all over the place often, but if we really just take ownership of our own self and our own heart, and we work on repositioning where the posture of our heart is, and how we look at other women and how we look at other people, but how we look at ourselves, we really then can live from an overflow of that, you know, when you know where your true identity comes from, and you know where, you know, how firm the foundation of the love that, you know, you are and how much you matter and where that comes from God, you just operate differently. You're just nicer, you're more kind, you're more compassionate, you're more accepting, you're more loving, and it just makes being who you are a little easier.
And it's easier to be that way.
It is.
Than the other way.
Yeah, we can
That
try
takes
so
work,
that
right.
takes work, and
Yeah.
I've done it plenty of time,
Yeah.
plenty of years I've spent doing that, and you know, I think I'm still working
That's
on
awesome.
unraveling that and letting that go, but every year feels more free.
Yeah. Good for you. So we may not see you in the news business again?
Probably not.
Okay. Do you miss it?
I miss the people.
Okay.
You know, obviously people I worked with,
Yeah.
of course, those
Yeah.
friendships. I miss the community. I mean, I think about that often. People that allow us to come into their mornings, a very intimate time of their life. And now, right, like you really proceed with caution what you turn on and what you let kind of filter into your home, especially if you have young kids. I have to be very cognizant of what is being put out in my home.
Yep.
And so I look back and I'm like, they accepted us. Like,
Yeah.
what a responsibility and an opportunity to be invited into somebody's house. And then not only one day, but like for years. And I still look back at that thinking, I didn't deserve that. Like, wow. And so I miss that sort of connection. But then I think that's the beauty of social media. You know, there's a lot of things we can probably complain about and not love. But there's a beautiful part of that does keep old connections reconnected and sort of established. And I think so when I start to think, oh, I miss, you know, the viewers and things like that, we still find our common ground there and can stay connected there.
That's nice.
So
So with what you're doing now, how can people, is there some information that you can share
Yeah.
that if there are women out there that want to connect with you and, you know, find that authenticity and that place for them where they feel more grounded and connected with the people around them, that they can find you and do that?
yeah, so I have a website, AndreaRobinsonTV.com. I try to put out something there weekly, but I think one thing that we're doing different than I think is changing, it's changing me, it's changing people, is I think that hands down, there needs to be way more encouragement, that we don't see enough of it. It's real easy to discourage. It's really easy just to hold on to the encouragement that like is in our heart to give somebody, but we just like don't follow the prompt. And so every Friday I send out some sort of encouragement, and it's a story wrapped with some sort of truth. And just from the responses that we get for the people that are getting them, it's not like another subscription, right? Like you sign up for an email list and you're like, oh my gosh, do I need another 10% off? Like, no,
Yeah, right.
stop emailing me.
Yeah.
And
You're just offering.
it's just that.
Yeah.
And I think that if we can fill somebody up, then perhaps that will then overflow into somebody else's life, to somebody else that
Affecting
needs
change
them.
and inspiring.
So yeah, they can come and they can, of course, sign up for those. We are back to holding meetups, which I think connecting
nice.
in person.
Yeah.
Obviously, we offered plenty of tools. We still have our journal out there. We're getting ready to launch a new product that is almost done.
That's exciting.
So, you know, again, I think if you're kind of in our email group and in our community, you'll know when all of those things come. But the goal is just to be a support for one another, and hopefully to be a safe place. I think when you're with loving people, it's a safe place.
And you want to share your story and help others.
Yeah, yeah.
That's great. Well, I love what you're doing now. I
Thank
see
you.
it and
Thank
hear it. And if you're, you know, if it's resonating for you, I definitely say, you know, connect on Andrea's page. I say Andrea Robinson, AndreaRobinsonTV.com, because it's really nice to get that in your soul and feel that and be moved by it. So.
Well, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for having
So you're still
me.
filling our hearts and our
Oh.
homes every day too. So
I hope so.
thank you. We'll come back and share more about that too and get deeper into it.
Perfect.
Okay. Thank you for joining Now with Jen. We'll see you next time.